So I will note that Pyanodon does watch these streams, and at least on occasion these days. Pyanodon's been very busy with alien life. Very busy with alien life. That is one more than I intended. Oh well. That'll be 20. 30. He does watch these and take into consideration balance suggestions. In this case, I think I'm very clearly identifying a slight issue with the zinc processing chain. If you couldn't tell, there might be a slight problem with the zinc processing chain. Yes, that's part of it, but the point of the mod set is that it's pain through complexity, but not necessarily supposed to be pain through just spam. There's a difference between complexity and spam, and this is spam. There's the process itself that is what is complex to this. There's this is the complexity. Doing the logistics between these steps, that's the complexity. Actually physically placing 120 hydroclassifiers, 60 impact crushers, 40 ball mills, that's just spam, and that's tedium. That's not difficulty. That's tedium. And that does get adjusted with time. And for reference, I am making insufficient amounts of zinc out of this process. This setup is completely and utterly insufficient. Because 37.5 units of zinc plates is nowhere even remotely close to enough. 5. 10. By the way, these buildings are bigger. 20. 40. That is 40, yes? Yes, 40. 3 more of that. This is why better processing methods exist, but I happen to need a lot for the currently planned amounts of Circuit 2s, which is infinity. My current plan for Circuit 2s is infinity. Or as a number as close to infinity as one can possibly get. It's not the best way to arrange the buildings. It's just I'm making a point. I'm trying to make a point. For reference, this is a very stupid way to arrange these buildings, but it's all to make a point to Pyanodon in particular about the crafting speed on these recipes. All right, how many is that? I don't even. I think I'm at 80. Oh, it actually, it is counting. Yes, 80. He's not watching right now, but he will eventually watch. Pyanodon will eventually see it. Either watching the VODs or whatever. He watches all of them, as far as I'm aware. All of the streams, or at least listens. That is 80, yes? $80. 2 more! That's 100. I'm making a point that these really do need to be faster recipe crafting speeds. By a factor of... because there's no point in saying that they're too slow. The point is that they should be approximately 5 times faster. That would probably be the a good number. A 5x speed increase on these. What's 120 divided by 5 again? 24. Yeah, that's a much more reasonable value. Wait, what? I must have. Oh, I overdid it a little. Is that exactly 120? Yes, it is. Okay, this doesn't need to exist. Oh, hey, it's Molly. Hello, Molly. Hello, Tin. Hey, the things we notice. Hello, great big gigantic Molly patch. That will be useful. Maybe. Silver foam will be silver foam. I mean, that's going to exist. I'd rather have more silver. Frankly, I'd rather keep the silver foam the way it is, but improve the output of silver rather than reduce the cost to make the silver foam. I'd rather be able to more readily meet those demands. But regardless, so I was making a point about this particular recipe. In particular, this recipe here. The what's the name of this recipe? Grade that's the item. What's the recipe name? Grade-3-zinc is the recipe name here. Grade-3-zinc needs to have its crafting time reduced by a factor of 5. Or better yet, it needs to have its input and output increased by a factor of 5. So instead of 1 grade 2 zinc to 1 grade 3 zinc output, make it consume 5 and output 5, and leave the crafting speed at 4. That is officially my suggestion to Pyanodon. On this particular recipe, multiply the input and output by 5. That actually won't solve anything, will it? No, it should. It should. It should, because then it's processing 5 units every 4 seconds instead of 1 unit every 4 seconds. So yes, that would actually help a lot. Yeah, and yes, you can make the energy draw higher. No. Well, you can on the building itself, but you can, yeah, the energy required divided by 5 would be easier, but for the crafting time. But if you see here, the crafting time is 4 seconds anyway. So it's already like, do we really want it processing a full, like, do we want this cycling every less than 1 second? Or would we rather have it processing more in 4 seconds? I would rather it process more in 4 seconds. So 5 grade 2 zinc in to 5 grade 3 zinc out. Because also remember, this has to scale with Mark 2, 3, and 4 buildings. I mean, yes, this is obscene at Mark 1 buildings. It gets halved at Mark 2, but granted, also at Mark 2, you also have red belts that you're dealing with, and you can start shoving in more ore per belt as well on the input. So effectively, things just stay the same. It's just more, you've doubled your output rather than reduced your building counts. But yeah, also think this is 120 times 4 on the pipe to ground and times 2 on the pipes, regular pipes, and then you need an input and an output on your inserters, and you need the power for those inserters. So this times 120 right now. And then similarly here, this should be 5 grade 1 zinc in to 5 grade 2 zinc out. But you would need to adjust the amount of sand out, because that would be problematic by comparison. That would be problematic by comparison to do that same thing with this particular recipe, which also needs a similar adjustment because this is also way too many buildings. Just like this is way too many buildings. This is also every 4 seconds crafting time. Can it go down to 0.75? Sure, I guess. Divide by 5, but anyway, it doesn't need to be the exact same ratio for all of these. I mean, if you divide 120 by 5, you get 24 total to process 5 yellow belts. That's a more reasonable number. Maybe keep it capped at like 40. Maybe divide by 2.5. That might be better. Divide by a 2.5-ish. Definitely needs to be more than halved. Slash speed of at least double, if not more. Anyway, that's a point I was wanting to make about zinc. And then get this, and then we go from this grade 3 that we're producing out of this 120 hydroclassifiers to 12 advanced foundries. So this step is fine. This step is perfectly okay. This step here with the 12 foundries into molten, this is fine. This is fine. I hate you. This is fine. I hate you. Yes, I know that sounded how that sounded. This is fine. Yes, it needs the space in between, but what was I saying? Right. That rotation works. It would actually make it would make sense doing the factor 5 because the previous step would be 24 buildings rather than 120, and that would go into 12. And that would go into 12 of these. So you would have 24 into 12. That makes sense. That actually makes some logical sense. You have twice as many hydroclassifiers as you do the advanced boundaries in Zinc. Like that would be cool to say that. Instead, we say it's 120 into 12. It is a 10 times factor difference. But yeah, and then this is 60. Yeah, this would go down to 12. But we also have to bear in mind that the single yellow belt versus the 5, it would go 12 divided by 5, it would be 3 of these buildings. It would be 3. And it would go from 24 into 5 for processing of 1 yellow belt. And then here it was 40. Well, 40 over 5, that would be 2. So if we're talking about processing a yellow belt of ore, it would be 2, 5, 2, 2, 4, 5. It'd be 2, 4, 5, and then like a few of these. 4, 3, 3. I think that's how that would work. It would be 3. 2 or 3. Actually, I think I had 2 when I did set this up anyway. But yeah, and then let's compare the zinc to the requirements for nickel, which are somewhat similar. We've got 23 automated screeners to do 5 yellow belts. Hey, look, that's a pretty close value to the 24 I'm proposing on those hydroclassifiers as a maximum-ish value to have, like somewhere in the 20s to 30s as a maximal value for something at 5, I should say, yellow belts of throughput. Yeah, these numbers make sense to me. Like, this is very reasonable numbers. 45 on the first step, Oh, okay, it's not obscene, like 120, or 60, or 80. 43 is a bit much, though. Maybe that one can be a little bit reduced, but everything else makes some degree of sense. This makes no sense. 0 sense is made out of 120. No sense at all. But hey, it's zinc. Hey folks, zinc. We did it. Didn't do any of the logistics for it, but we did it. That's zinc. Okay, it's done. Zinc, done. D-U-N. D-U-N done. Now, this is really close to this. Ooh, I did not give that a proper name. I did not name this properly. So remember what I said earlier about TSM being very, very, very finicky. If I rename this right now, it will break, and it will constantly request the trains. It will constantly request the trains. So I actually have to clear this and then rename it. This is Zinc tar request. That's what you are. That's not the one. And that worked. Remove the station and real. No, you don't actually really need to remove the station. You just have to clear. Make sure that you remember that you clear the priority schema first, and then it will be fine, I think. How much do I know about LTN? Absolutely nothing. Oh, this was Coke, right. Oops. I was thinking it was this one. This was Coke. Stacked Coke is what I had it listed to. And I totally named it Tar Request, didn't I? Yep. Yep. That's just me being me. There we go. There we go. That's what you are. Yeah, and now there's no phantom outstanding request, and there's no like light on the map forever. Yeah, I am preferring the train supply manager just because it is inherently dumb and therefore not that UPS intensive. I said this earlier, but train supply manager doesn't really know nor care about what your trains actually carry. Outside of what the vanilla mechanics say is how much of your wagons are filled. It can look at how much of a wagon is filled, but GSM doesn't care what exactly you have in your trains. You have to tell it what is in a train. And you can lie to it. And you can lie. When assigning the resource IDs, resource and ID to a station, this is arbitrary. You can assign whatever symbology you want to a resource and ID. As long as you request that specific combination of resource and ID at a requester station, it'll send whatever train is there and whatever's in that train to it. So you have to be at least careful on that. You have to be a little bit careful that you send your trains to your appropriate depots, because that can cause problems if you have assigned the wrong train. Why did it go away? That can go very wrong very quickly. So, nickel. Speaking of nickel, I also need to rename this station because I was thinking that this station would be for a this would be for providing molten nickel on the network if I wanted to do my nichrome at chromium rather than at nickel, or if I just wanted to do it somewhere else if I was doing molten nichrome casting, but we shall see. I have a borax and a sand casting. I don't think I need anything else outside of a tar and a coke. A tar and a coke up here. Somewhere. I've got, fortunately, on this particular setup, as opposed to this one, I actually have room down here to add the tar and coke requests. So I will do that off screen, and I will set up nickel off screen. I will finish setting up a proper zinc off screen if I don't just do that 5x change myself. I'll probably just do that. I will probably just change that myself. In all actuality, I'll go in and I'll do 5 in, 5 out on that hydro classifier step. Don't know what to do about the other stuff though. It would be just easier, I guess, to change the time, the quote unquote energy required. Can someone please explain why Factorio defines crafting time as energy required in the code? Like, how does that make sense? In what context is that a thing? Because that's totally what it is. It's anytime in the code, like if you are looking at, say, the change logs for Pyanodon's mods, in the hell are you up to? If you look at the not change logs, um in the commits on Pyanodon's GitHub repositories, as changes are made, occasionally he'll change the timings on some recipes, and it's always energy required. Yeah, it might have to do with translation, something getting lost in translation. But, yeah, because energy required is something that's, like, hard-coded. That's what becomes the time, crafting time. Here, everything is called iron stick, by the way. Not really rod, even though they are rods, and they are called sticks. I think I just call them rods, even though they're sticks. Technically sticks, but they are rods. That is a mistranslation, actually, because they're rods. Sticks are wood. Like, a stick is wood. When it's metal, it's a rod, not a stick. But anyway, with that, we have reached the end of today's stream. I would like to thank you all for watching. At this point in time, we will stream again on Tuesday with more of the Pi stream, this playthrough. That is, unless I get access to the full Pi Alien Life. If and when I get access to the full Pi Alien Life, we will, of course, be streaming that instead. And as I said, that when that does happen, it's not if, it's when that happens, this particular playthrough will be on hold until the Thursday stream, the Morrowind stream that I stream on Thursdays, is finished completely. Once I finish that playthrough, I would continue this playthrough on that day. On that day. Oh, and I'm sure that the initial releases of Pi Alien Life are going to be not the greatest, but that's part of the point. Is Pyanodon wants the feedback. Pyanodon wants the feedback and wants some notifications of what's wrong, what's broken, what's wrong, and we can go through that together on a playthrough. So that's going to be the idea. And if there's anything that's like a real oopsie that breaks things, I will be, of course, fixing anything like emergency level myself, while noting what needs to get changed. But I think Pyanodon just wants to see it in an actual playthrough of someone actually playing through the game without cheating and without doing like creative mode or anything like that, but actually just get a full playthrough played with the thoughts on how it goes, because that's exactly what I did on the off the rails playthroughs. I played through the game most like basically blind where it counted, which was going into the mid and late game, going into circuit twos, and that there were so many changes. There were so many changes that Pyanodon started making after I started my playthrough of the off the rails playthrough. That stream series, there were so many changes due to that. Uh, so that's going to be what we do for Alien Life, and I'll be focusing on doing things the Alien Life way, just to have a play around with it, have a look and see what's good, what's not so good, what's balanced, what's not so balanced, what's like really well balanced, as in what's really in the player's favor and needs to be nerfed, and what needs to be buffed, and all that good stuff, and what's frankly broken. So when that does happen, that will be the plan. That will be the plan when that does happen. However, of course, we will stream this playthrough as per usual on Tuesday, unless I hear otherwise that Alien Life has hit. Again, thank you all for watching. If you are watching the VOD on YouTube much later on, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Head on over to twitch.tv/Otaku to leave a follow to be notified when I go live, Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, from 10 a.m. to approximately 1 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. You can do all the social stuff through the links below the video. You can support Pyanodon at patreon.com/Pyanodon, as well as myself at patreon.com/Otaku Showboat. And yeah, you can join the Pyanodon Discord. You can join my Discord, and get my blueprints on my Discord that I use in my playthroughs, as requested. And yeah, I hope to see you all on the next one.